Welcome back, warriors, to GrimFace Motivation, the place where strength is forged, limits are shattered, and excuses are left to burn in the fire of transformation. To our loyal returning viewers, you are the lifeblood of this movement. Your relentless pursuit of growth, your courage to face the darkness, and your refusal to settle for mediocrity are what fuel this channel. Thank you for being part of this unstoppable force. And for those of you joining us for the first time, welcome to the GrimFace Movement. This isn't just a channel, it's a way of life. If you're ready to confront the shadows, take control of your destiny, and elevate yourself to a level you never thought possible, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button now and join the ranks of those who dare to be different. This year, we're not just leveling up our minds, we're leveling up our lives. That's why we've partnered with GrimFace Financial, a new channel dedicated to helping you master financial discipline, break free from the system, and build the life you deserve. The link is in the description below, so make sure to subscribe and take the next step in your transformation. Today's video dives into the raw, unfiltered truths we've been sharing. The power of healing, the courage to confront inherited trauma, and the strength to break free from generational cycles. These are the battles we must fight to reclaim our power. This is your call to action. This is your year to rise. Lesson 1. Inherited trauma. The shadows we carry. We like to think of ourselves as individuals, free, independent, unshackled by the past. But what if I told you that you're not just carrying the weight of your own life? What if, within your veins, flows not only your blood, but the uncried tears of your ancestors? What if, in your heart, lives the echo of their unspoken fears and unresolved pain? Inherited trauma is real. It lurks in the corners of our minds, in the patterns of our behavior we can't seem to break, in the beliefs we hold that make no sense, and even in the aches of our bodies we can't explain. It is the silent hand that guides us, the invisible chain that binds us. Trauma doesn't just die when the person who first suffered it is gone. No, it lingers, festering in the DNA, whispering through the generations, waiting for you. You carry wounds that aren't yours. You carry fears that aren't your own. You carry pain that began in a time and place you never even knew existed. Your struggles, your doubts, your hesitations, they may not even belong to you. They may be the weight of someone who came before you, someone who survived unspeakable horrors so you could exist. And now, here you are, haunted by the shadows they left behind. But don't let this truth break you. Let it awaken you. Because the moment you realize this is the moment you realize your purpose. You are not just a victim of their suffering. You are the one who was chosen to break the chain. You are the one who has the power to stop the cycle. Think about it. Your ancestors endured unimaginable pain, fought battles you'll never know, sacrificed their dreams so you could be here. They passed down not just their trauma, but also their strength, their resilience, their fire. You are their living legacy. And if they survived, so can you. But survival is not enough. Survival is what they did. Your task is greater. Your task is to heal, to face the shadows that aren't yours, to confront the demons that have haunted your bloodline for generations, to end the suffering that has been passed down like an inheritance you never asked for. This won't be easy. It will demand everything from you. It will force you to look deep within yourself and confront the darkness that has been hiding there for far too long. It will force you to feel pain that isn't yours, to cry tears that belong to someone long gone. But this is the price of freedom. This is the cost of breaking the chain. Ask yourself, will I continue the cycle? Will I let the pain of the past dictate the future? Or will I rise? Will I take the burden that has been handed to me and transform it into something greater? Will I turn pain into power, suffering into strength, darkness into light? You are the warrior your ancestors prayed for. You are the healer they could never be. You are the one who will carry their story not as a curse, but as a badge of honor. Their trauma ends with you. Their pain dies with you. Their strength, however, that lives on. Remember, the shadows you carry are not here to consume you. They are here to teach you. They are here to show you that you are stronger than the pain of the past, that you are greater than the fears of those who came before you, that you are the master of your destiny. So rise, face the darkness, break the chain, and become the light your ancestors always knew you could be. Inherited trauma is real, but so is inherited strength. You have everything you need within you to not just survive, but to transcend. It starts with you. It ends with you. Now, what will you do? Lesson 2. The Echoes Within. Epigenetics and the Legacy of Trauma. We are not blank slates. From the moment we draw our first breath, we are already imprinted, shaped not just by the circumstances of our own lives, but by the lives of those who came before us. Within you, encoded in the very fabric of your being, lies a history written not in ink, but in the language of life itself, your DNA. But this history isn't just a record of survival. It's a battlefield, scarred and shaped by the traumas your ancestors endured. Science has a name for it: epigenetics. It's the study of how life's experiences, war, famine, abuse, pain, leave a mark, altering the expression of genes, passing the echoes of suffering down through generations. Think about that. You are walking through life carrying the fingerprints of the past, the battles your grandparents fought, the hunger they endured, the terror they felt as bombs fell from the sky. All of it, written into you. Trauma doesn't just stay in the mind or the heart. It burrows deeper, embedding itself in your biology, influencing how your body functions, how your mind copes, how your soul feels the weight of existence. And you wonder why you feel anxious for no reason, why your heart races when there's no danger, why your body aches under a burden you can't see. You're not imagining it. You are living the legacy of trauma, trauma that isn't even yours. But here's the dark truth. You didn't choose this, but it is yours to carry. You are the keeper of a legacy, not just of suffering, but of survival. Because for every wound etched into your DNA, there is also a story of resilience. Your ancestors endured, they adapted, they fought to survive in ways you can't even comprehend. And though they carried the scars of their battles, they also carried strength, a strength they've passed on to you. You might feel like a prisoner of this inheritance, like you're shackled to the pain of the past. But what if I told you that you have the power to rewrite it? Because just as trauma leaves its mark, so too does healing. Epigenetics doesn't just bind you to the past, it offers you the power to transform it. Every choice you make, every act of courage, every moment you spend healing yourself, it sends a ripple through your biology. You're not just changing your life, you're reshaping the lives of future generations. You're proving that the story doesn't have to end in suffering. So ask yourself, will you let the weight of the past crush you, or will you use it to rise? Will you let the pain of your ancestors define you, or will you honor their struggle by breaking the cycle? Because you weren't born to be a victim of your DNA. You were born to be its master. This is not an easy path. Healing never is. It demands that you confront the shadows within you, the pain that doesn't seem to make sense, the fear that whispers in the back of your mind. It demands that you feel it all, that you look it in the eye and say, I see you, but you will not control me. It demands that you choose growth over comfort, transformation over stagnation. But imagine what's on the other side. Imagine breaking free not just for yourself, but for everyone who comes after you. Imagine being the one who turns the tide, who takes the scars of the past and transforms them into something powerful, something beautiful, something unstoppable. You are the turning point. You are the one who has chosen to carry this burden, not to be crushed by it, but to rise above it. The trauma in your DNA is not your destiny. It is your starting point. It is your challenge. And it is your opportunity to become something greater. So rise. Rise for yourself. Rise for your ancestors. Rise for the generations that will come after you. Break the chain. Rewrite the code. Transform the legacy. Because the past may live within you, but it does not define you. You define you, and you are so much stronger than you've been told. The question is, will you believe it? Will you act on it? The choice is yours, and the time is now. Lesson 3. The shadows of the family. Breaking the chains of hidden loyalties. We are born into families thinking they are our first refuge, our shelter from the chaos of the world. But often, our families are where the chaos begins. Not the loud, obvious chaos we can run from, but the quiet kind. The kind that burrows under the surface, that molds who we are without us even realizing it. You see, family is more than just blood. It's a web of hidden loyalties, unspoken agreements, and unresolved pain. And whether you know it or not, you are caught in that web. Every choice you make, every pattern you repeat, every burden you carry, how much of it is really yours? And how much of it is the ghost of your family's unfinished business? We like to think we're free, don't we? That we make our own decisions, live our own lives. But how often do you find yourself acting in ways you can't explain? Following paths you didn't choose? Repeating mistakes that aren't even yours? It's not coincidence. It's not chance. It's the invisible hand of your family's past, reaching out to shape your present. Maybe you've been taught to keep the peace at all costs, even if it means silencing your own voice. Maybe you've been conditioned to chase success, not because it's what you want, but because someone in your family failed and you're carrying their shame. Or maybe you've been trapped in cycles of pain and dysfunction, not because you're broken, but because you're unconsciously loyal to those who came before you, repeating their patterns, carrying their burdens, suffering in their place. This is the legacy of hidden family dynamics, the things no one talks about, the secrets swept under the rug, the pain no one dared to confront. They don't disappear, they fester, they live on in you, and they will keep living on, unless you do something about it. But here's the truth. You were not born to be a shadow of your family's past. You were not put here to be a vessel for their unhealed wounds. You were born to break the cycle, to step into the light, to do what they couldn't or wouldn't do. Breaking free from family dynamics is not easy. It's a war, and the battlefield is within you. You will have to face the guilt of stepping away from the roles you've been given. You will have to confront the fear of being judged, ostracized, even hated for choosing yourself. And worst of all, you will have to look your family's pain in the eye, the pain they passed down to you, and refuse to let it define you. Ask yourself, how long will you carry the weight of what isn't yours? How long will you let unspoken agreements dictate your choices? How long will you suffer for a history you didn't create? Because the truth is, every time you repeat their patterns, every time you carry their burdens, every time you betray yourself for the sake of loyalty, you're not just hurting yourself. You're keeping the cycle alive for the next generation. You have the power to stop this. You have the power to say, it ends with me. to break the unspoken agreements, to lay down the burdens, to refuse to pass on the pain. But it will take everything you have. It will require courage you didn't know you possessed. It will demand that you stand alone, even when your family doesn't understand, even when they fight to keep you in the role they gave you. But isn't that worth it? Isn't freedom worth the fight? Isn't your life, your real life, worth the sacrifice? Because make no mistake, breaking free is a sacrifice. You will have to give up the comfort of the familiar, the safety of belonging, the illusion of control. But in return, you will gain something priceless. You will gain yourself. And when you break free, you don't just free yourself. You free your family too. You show them a new way, a better way. You become the one who turns the tide, the one who transforms pain into healing, dysfunction into growth, cycles into freedom. So rise, step into the fire, confront the shadows of your family's past, break the patterns, lay down the burdens, rewrite the story. You are more than the legacy you were given. You are the one who can change it. The question is, will you? Or will you let the shadows consume you? The choice is yours, and your time is now. Lesson 4. The weight of words. Unlocking the language of hidden pain. Words. Simple, fleeting vibrations of sound. They seem harmless, don't they? Mere whispers carried on the air, disappearing as quickly as they're spoken. But don't let their simplicity fool you. Words are weapons. Words are chains. Words are the architects of your reality. And the words you speak, or worse, the words you've absorbed, may not even be your own. You've said them, haven't you? Those quiet admissions that slip out when no one's listening. I feel like I don't belong. I'm carrying something heavy. Maybe you've thought nothing of them, brushing them off like stray cobwebs. But those words aren't random. They are breadcrumbs, clues to a deeper truth hiding beneath the surface. What if I told you those phrases are not just reflections of how you feel in the moment, but echoes of something far older? What if those words are the ghosts of your family's unresolved pain, speaking through you? Think about it. Words are more than sounds. They are spells, imbued with meaning, forged by experience, passed down like an heirloom. And the words you use, the phrases that live in your mind, may not be yours at all. They could be the lingering whispers of trauma your ancestors carried, but never confronted. The words your family repeated in their darkest moments, imprinted into the fabric of your being. Phrases like, I feel lost. I'm not enough. Life is a struggle. They're not just complaints, they're codes. Codes that reveal the pain, the fear, the grief that was never spoken aloud. Codes that bind you to the invisible burdens of the past. How many times have you heard the same patterns in your family? The same self-limiting beliefs, the same fears, the same unspoken shame. These words, these phrases, they're not coincidences. They're the unhealed wounds of generations, hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone brave enough to confront them. And that someone is you. You are the one who can break the spell. You are the one who can unravel the language of pain and replace it with something new. But first, you must listen. Really listen. To yourself, to your family, to the stories they tell, the words they choose, the silences they keep. Because buried in that language is the truth of what they've been carrying and what you've inherited. This is not an easy task. To confront the language of hidden trauma is to confront the pain itself. It's to look in the mirror and see not just your own reflection, but the shadow of those who came before you. It's to hear the words you speak and realize they've been shaping your life, your choices, your identity, all without your consent. But here's the thing. Language is not static. It is alive. It is malleable. And just as words have the power to wound, they also have the power to heal. You can rewrite the script. You can choose new words, new phrases, new truths to define who you are and who you will become. Ask yourself, what words will you no longer tolerate? What phrases will you cast out like poison from your mind? And more importantly, what new language will you create for yourself? Will you keep saying, I'm not enough? Or will you declare, I am more than enough? Will you keep saying, life is a burden? Or will you proclaim, life is my creation? The choice is yours. The words are yours. But make no mistake, they are your responsibility. Because if you don't choose them, someone else already has. Your family, your past, your pain. This is your moment to take control, to speak with intention, to break the cycle, to turn the whispers of the past into the battle cries of your future. Remember this, every word you speak is a seed. Will you plant the seeds of doubt and despair? Or will you sow the seeds of power and possibility? Every phrase is a foundation. Will you build your life on the crumbling ruins of inherited trauma? Or will you construct something unshakable, something worthy of your strength? The words are waiting. The language is yours to claim. The pain is yours to face. And the power is yours to wield. Speak wisely. Speak boldly. Speak as though your life, and the lives of those who come after you, depend on it. Because they do. Lesson 5. The price of healing. The power of awareness. Healing is a word that's often whispered in soft tones, as if it's some gentle, graceful process. But healing isn't soft. It's not gentle. Healing is a war, a battle against the ghosts that haunt you, the shadows that cling to your soul, the chains you never asked for, but were born wearing. And make no mistake, those chains aren't just yours. They've been forged over generations, piece by piece, link by link, by the unresolved pain, the unspoken truths, the buried traumas of your family. You think you're free, but you're not. You're a prisoner of a past you didn't create, shackled by patterns you didn't choose. But here's the truth. You will never break free until you become aware of what binds you. Healing requires awareness. It demands that you open your eyes to the darkness you've been avoiding, to the pain you've inherited, to the patterns that have been quietly shaping your life. How many of your choices are truly yours? How many of your fears, your beliefs, your behaviors are echoes of your family's unfinished business? The anger you can't explain, the sadness that doesn't seem to have a source, the self-sabotage you can't seem to escape. These aren't accidents. They're clues. Clues to the trauma that has been passed down through your bloodline, waiting for someone brave enough to confront it. But here's the thing about awareness. It isn't comfortable. It isn't pretty. To become aware is to step into the darkness, to ask the questions no one wants to answer, to dig up the secrets your family has buried, to listen to the stories they wish they could forget, to see the patterns they refuse to acknowledge. And when you do, you will see the truth. You will see the cycles of pain, of fear, of shame, repeating over and over, generation after generation. You will see the choices your ancestors made, choices born out of survival, out of desperation, out of trauma. You will see how those choices shaped your family, how they shaped you. But awareness is not enough. Knowing the truth is just the beginning. Because awareness is a weapon, and a weapon is useless unless you wield it. The real question is, what will you do with this awareness? Will you let it consume you? Will you let the weight of your family's pain crush you? Or will you use it to break free? To shatter the chains that have bound you? To end the cycles that have plagued your family for generations? Healing is not for the weak. It is for the warriors. The ones who are willing to face the pain, to confront the darkness, to do the work their ancestors couldn't or wouldn't do. The ones who are willing to say, "It ends with me." This is your burden. This is your battle. And it will demand everything from you. It will demand that you look at yourself with brutal honesty, that you confront the parts of yourself you'd rather hide. It will demand that you take responsibility, not for the trauma you inherited, but for the healing you will create. Because healing is not just about you, it's about your family. It's about breaking the cycle for the generations to come. It's about turning the pain of the past into the power of the future. So ask yourself, are you willing to see the truth? Are you willing to face the darkness? Are you willing to fight for your freedom? Because the cost of healing is high, but the cost of staying blind is even higher. Awareness is the key, but it's also the door, the lock, and the chains themselves. Will you open it? Will you step through? Will you set yourself free? The choice is yours. But remember this, the darkness you avoid today will be the darkness your children inherit tomorrow. Healing starts with awareness, and awareness starts with you. So rise. Look the shadows in the eye. Ask the questions. Listen to the stories. See the patterns. And then, choose to be the one who breaks them. Choose to be the one who transforms the pain into strength, the fear into courage, the chains into freedom. Healing is a war, and now is the time to fight. Are you ready? Lesson 6. The words that bind us. Decoding the language of inherited trauma. We like to think that the words we speak are our own, that the voice in our heads is ours alone. But what if I told you that your words are not just words? That your voice is not just your voice? What if I told you that hidden in your language are the echoes of lives you've never lived, the pain of events you've never experienced, and the weight of stories you've never been told? This is not just a metaphor. This is reality. The words you use every day, those seemingly random phrases that slip out when you're angry, afraid, or vulnerable, are not random at all. They are breadcrumbs, leading you back to the unresolved traumas of your family's past. Think about the things you say. I feel like I don't belong. I can't breathe. Something's always weighing me down. You've said them, or maybe you've heard them. They feel personal, don't they? Like they're coming from deep inside you. But where did they really come from? Why do you say them? Why do they feel so heavy? These phrases are not accidents. They are clues, pieces of a puzzle you didn't even know you were solving. They are the language of inherited trauma, passed down through generations, embedding themselves in your psyche, shaping your reality. You are the carrier of stories you've never been told, the bearer of pain you've never experienced. And unless you become aware of this language, you will continue to live out the patterns of your ancestors, repeating their struggles, their fears, their failures, without ever knowing why. But here's the dark truth. Your words are your prison, and they are also your key. The core language approach is not just about hearing the words. It's about decoding them, tracing them back to their origins, uncovering the stories they hide, confronting the pain they conceal. It's about turning language into a weapon, not against yourself, but against the trauma that binds you. This process is not easy. It's not comfortable. It's not something you can do half-heartedly. To decode your core language is to confront the darkest corners of your family's history. It's to ask the questions no one dared to ask, to uncover the truths that were buried out of fear, out of shame, out of grief. And when you do, you will see the patterns. You will see the connections. You will see how the words you speak are tied to the wounds your family never healed. And you will see what needs to be done. This is where the real work begins. Because awareness is not enough. Knowing the source of your pain doesn't heal it. Understanding the origin of your patterns doesn't break them. The core language approach gives you the map, but you must be the one to walk the path. You will have to confront the stories. Not just hear them, but feel them. The fear, the anger, the grief. It will rise within you like a storm, and you will have to face it. Because the only way to heal is to go through the pain, not around it. Ask yourself, are you willing to go there? Are you willing to face the truth of where you came from? Are you willing to confront the words that have shaped your life and rewrite them? This is your chance to break the cycle, to stop carrying the weight of stories that aren't yours, to transform the language of pain into the language of power, to turn your inherited trauma into inherited strength. But don't mistake this for an easy task. Healing is not gentle. It's not soft. It's a battle against the shadows of the past, the chains of the present, and the fear of the future. And the battlefield is your mind, your heart, your soul. The core language approach is your weapon. Use it. Listen to your words. Trace them back. Uncover their origins. Confront the pain. And then, rewrite the story. You are not just the end of your family's trauma. You are the beginning of their redemption. Their pain does not define you. Their words do not control you. You have the power to break free. The question is, will you? The words are waiting. The stories are waiting. The healing is waiting. But time doesn't wait. It's now or never. So rise. Take the words that bind you and turn them into the words that set you free. The choice is yours. The time is now. Lesson 7. The battle for the future. Healing the wounds of generations. You think healing is just about you, don't you? You think it's about fixing your broken pieces, about soothing your scars, about finding your peace. But what if I told you that healing isn't just about you? It's about the ones who will come after you. What if I told you that every tear you shed, every demon you face, every wound you mend is a battle not just for your life, but for the lives of generations yet to come? Healing transforms generations. It's not just self-care. It's not just personal growth. It's a revolution, a rebellion against the pain, the trauma, the dysfunction that has been passed down through your family, like an inheritance of suffering. And you, yes, you, are the one chosen to end it. Think about the patterns in your family, the unspoken pain, the cycles of anger, of shame, of fear. How many of them have you seen repeat over and over, generation after generation? How many of them have you already lived out yourself? Do you think that's coincidence? Do you think that's fate? It's not. It's a cycle that will keep turning, keep grinding, keep crushing, until someone, you, has the courage to stop it. And stopping it starts with healing. Not the soft, gentle kind of healing they sell you in self-help books, but the raw, brutal kind. The kind that forces you to look your pain in the eye. The kind that makes you dig into the darkest corners of your soul and confront the shadows you've spent your whole life avoiding. The kind that demands everything from you. Because make no mistake, healing is a battle. And it's not just your battle. It's the battle your ancestors couldn't fight. The war they left unfinished. The pain they carried, but couldn't confront. It's all been passed down to you, not as a punishment, but as a challenge. Will you break the cycle? Or will you let it break you? This is the weight of inherited trauma. It's not just in your mind, it's in your blood, your bones, your DNA. And if you don't face it, if you don't heal it, it will live on in your children, and their children, and their children's children. The cycle will continue. The pain will spread. The shadows will grow. But here's the truth they don't tell you. Healing isn't just about breaking the cycle. It's about creating something new. When you heal yourself, you don't just end the suffering. You plant the seeds of strength, of resilience, of freedom. You create a new legacy, one not defined by pain, but by power. Imagine what that could look like. Imagine a future where your children don't carry the weight of your family's unspoken grief. Imagine a world where they don't inherit the anger, the fear, the shame. Imagine giving them the gift of freedom, the freedom to live their lives unburdened by the chains of the past. That's what's at stake. Not just your life, but their lives. Not just your healing, but their future. Every step you take toward healing, every shadow you confront, every wound you mend, it all echoes forward. It changes the course of your family's history. It transforms the story. But don't be fooled. This will not be easy. Healing is not a single act. It's a war fought day by day, moment by moment. It's messy. It's painful. It will push you to your limits. It will force you to face the ugliest parts of yourself and your family's history. And there will be moments when you want to give up. Moments when the weight feels too heavy. Moments when you think, why should I have to carry this? The answer is simple. Because you are the one who can. You were chosen to carry this burden not because it's fair, but because you're strong enough to break it. Your ancestors endured so you could exist. And now it's your turn to ensure that your descendants thrive. You are the bridge between the pain of the past and the promise of the future. So, rise. Take the weight of your family's trauma and transform it into strength. Take the pain and turn it into power. Take the darkness and use it to build a legacy of light. You have the power to change everything, not just for yourself, but for everyone who comes after you. This is your moment, your responsibility, your battle. Will you fight it? Or will you let the cycle continue? The choice is yours. But remember this, healing doesn't end with you. It begins with you. Future generations are waiting. They're watching. And they're hoping that you'll be the one who rises, the one who breaks the chains, the one who transforms the pain into freedom. Don't let them down. Don't let yourself down. The time to heal is now, and the time to change history is yours. Lesson 8. The weight you carry. Confronting the trauma. Stored in your body. You think you can outrun it, don't you? The memories. The pain. The moments you'd rather forget. You think if you bury it deep enough, if you shove it far enough out of your mind, it will disappear. But here's the truth. Trauma doesn't just vanish. It doesn't fade. It doesn't dissolve. It burrows into your body. That ache in your back, that tension in your chest, that knot in your stomach. You think it's just stress, don't you? Or bad posture, or a bad day. But it's more than that. It's the echo of every scream you never let out. It's the weight of every tear you refused to cry. It's the silent agony of wounds that never healed. Trauma is stored in the body. Every unspoken word, every suppressed emotion, every unprocessed memory, it all leaves its mark. Your body keeps the score of everything you've been through, everything you've survived. And if you don't face it, if you don't deal with it, your body will do it for you. The headaches, the fatigue, the chronic pain, the sleepless nights, the illnesses no doctor can explain. These are not random. These are your body's way of speaking to you, screaming at you, begging you to pay attention. Because the truth is, your body doesn't forget, and it won't let you forget either. But here's the thing. This isn't just punishment. It's a call to action. Your body is not your enemy. It's your ally. It's holding your trauma, not to hurt you, but to protect you. It's carrying the weight you couldn't carry in your mind, storing the pain you couldn't process at the time. But it can't carry it forever. And if you don't find a way to release it, it will crush you. So what will you do? Will you ignore the signs? Will you numb the pain? Will you distract yourself, hoping it will go away? Or will you face it? Will you listen to your body? Will you honor the truth it's trying to show you? Healing the trauma in your body is not easy. It's not a quick fix. It's a war against the patterns you've lived with for years, against the instincts that tell you to run, against the fear of feeling everything you've buried. It will demand courage. It will demand strength. And most of all, it will demand that you stop lying to yourself. You cannot heal what you refuse to feel. You cannot free yourself if you don't acknowledge the chains. Your body is holding your pain, but it's also holding your key. The question is, are you brave enough to unlock it? This isn't just about thinking your way out of pain. This is about integrating your mind and body. It's about connecting to the parts of yourself you've ignored. It's about breathing into the tension, moving through the discomfort, feeling the emotions you've been avoiding for years. It's about letting your body speak and finally listening to what it has to say. This will hurt. Let's not pretend otherwise. Facing the trauma stored in your body is like ripping open an old wound. It will bleed. It will sting. It will make you want to give up. But remember this. The pain you feel is not your enemy. It's your liberation. Every ache, every spasm, every tear is your body releasing what no longer serves you. Every moment of discomfort is a step toward freedom. Every time you face the pain, instead of running from it, you reclaim a piece of yourself that trauma tried to take away. So ask yourself, are you ready to stop running? Are you ready to stop numbing? Are you ready to face the truth your body has been trying to show you all along? This isn't just about healing the past. It's about creating your future. A future where your body isn't weighed down by the ghosts of old pain. A future where you're not ruled by the shadows of what you've survived. A future where you're not just existing, but truly living. Your body is your battlefield, but it's also your home. And it's time to reclaim it, to release the trauma, to break the cycle, to transform the pain into power. This is your moment. The question is not whether you can do it. The question is, will you? Will you rise to the challenge? Will you face the pain? Will you heal, not just for yourself, but for the life you deserve to live? The choice is yours. The time is now. Your body has been waiting long enough. Listen to it. Honor it. Heal it. And watch as the life you've always wanted begins to emerge from the inside out. Lesson 9. The burden of blood. Finding empathy for the past. We walk through life thinking we are our own creations. We believe we are free, independent, unshackled from the past. But the truth is, every step we take carries the weight of those who came before us. You are not just you. You are the culmination of generations. Their pain, their choices, their sacrifices, they live within you, whether you like it or not. But here's the thing about inherited pain. It's easy to resent it. It's easy to hate the weight you carry, to curse the ancestors who left you with their unfinished business. How often have you thought, why me? Why do I have to deal with this? You see the trauma, the patterns, the burdens, and you blame them for everything you've had to endure. But before you let that resentment consume you, ask yourself this. Do you even know their story? Do you understand the world they lived in? The choices they had or didn't have? The battles they fought just to survive, just to ensure that you could exist? We like to look at the past through the lens of the present, as though our ancestors had the luxury of the knowledge, tools, and opportunities we have today. But they didn't. They lived in worlds of war, famine, poverty, and oppression. They lived in times where survival was the only goal. And in those moments, they did what they thought was best. They made choices. Not perfect ones, not always right ones, but choices that allowed their bloodline to continue. You are the proof of their resilience. Yes, they made mistakes. Yes, they passed down pain. But look deeper. Beneath that pain is something extraordinary. Strength, endurance, sacrifice. They endured unimaginable hardships, and though they didn't emerge unscarred, they survived. And because of that, you have the chance to live, to heal, to break the cycle. Empathy for your ancestors doesn't mean excusing their mistakes. It doesn't mean pretending their actions didn't cause harm. What it means is recognizing that they too were human. They too carried burdens they didn't understand. They too inherited trauma they didn't know how to heal. They did the best they could with what they had, and sometimes that wasn't enough. But they kept going, and that is something to honor. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean erasing the pain. It means freeing yourself from the weight of resentment. It means releasing the anger that keeps you tied to the very patterns you're trying to break. Because the truth is, as long as you hate them for what they passed down, you remain a prisoner of that inheritance. Empathy is your weapon. Compassion is your key. When you choose to understand, when you choose to see your ancestors not as villains, but as survivors, you reclaim your power. You transform the narrative. You take the burden they handed you, and you turn it into something greater. Think about it. If they had the tools you have, the knowledge you have, the opportunities you have, what would they have done? They didn't heal because they couldn't, but you can. You are the one who was chosen to end the cycle. Not because it's easy, not because it's fair, but because you are strong enough to do what they couldn't. So, rise. Look back, not with anger, but with understanding. See their struggles, acknowledge their pain, honor their sacrifices, and then let it go. Let the burden die with you. Let the pain transform into power. Let the cycle end here with you. Ask yourself, will I carry this resentment to my grave, or will I rise above it? Will I let the past define me, or will I redefine it? Will I be the one who breaks the chain, or will I pass it on to the next generation? The choice is yours. But remember this, empathy is not weakness. Forgiveness is not surrender. These are acts of defiance, acts of strength. They are how you take the power back. They are how you turn the pain of the past into the freedom of the future. Your ancestors are watching, not to judge you, not to hold you back, but to see if you will do what they could not. Will you honor them by carrying their pain, or will you honor them by healing it? The past is written, but the future is not, and you hold the pen. Write something they could only dream of. Heal in ways they never could. Transform their suffering into strength. And in doing so, set yourself and them free. Lesson 10. You are not alone. The weight we all carry. There's a darkness within you, isn't there? A heaviness you can't explain. It creeps into your thoughts, weighs on your chest, makes you feel like you're suffocating. You've tried to fight it. You've tried to ignore it. But it never leaves. And the worst part? You feel like it's yours alone, like no one else could possibly understand what you're going through. But here's the truth. You are not alone. The pain you carry isn't just yours. The trauma you feel didn't begin with you. You are the latest chapter in a story that started long before you were born. A story written by the struggles, the fears, the heartbreaks of those who came before you. You carry their burdens, their scars, their battles, and so does everyone else. Think about that for a moment. Look around you. Every person you pass on the street, every face in the crowd, every stranger you see, they're carrying something too. They might not show it. They might not even know it. But they are, just like you. The weight you feel is heavy, but it's not unique. The anxiety, the sadness, the anger, the self-doubt. You're not the only one who feels them. These are the echoes of a shared human experience, passed down through generations, woven into the fabric of who we are. And though it feels isolating, it's the very thing that connects you to the rest of humanity. There's power in realizing this. There's freedom in understanding that your struggles don't make you weak. They make you human. You are not broken. You are not cursed. You are not alone in this fight. You are part of something much bigger than yourself. But don't mistake this for an excuse to wallow. Don't let this knowledge become a reason to stay stuck. Knowing you're not alone doesn't mean you get to sit back and let the weight crush you. It means you have a responsibility. To yourself, to those who came before you, to those who will come after you. Because here's the thing. The weight you carry doesn't define you. Yes, it's real. Yes, it's heavy. But it's not permanent. It's not immovable. It's not who you are. And the moment you recognize that, the moment you see that this burden is shared, that others have carried it and survived, is the moment you realize you can survive it too. Look to the people who came before you, your ancestors, your family, the countless others who endured unimaginable pain and hardship. They didn't have all the answers. They didn't always get it right. But they fought. They endured. And because they did, you are here. You are proof of their resilience. And now it's your turn. Your turn to fight. Your turn to endure. Your turn to break the cycle. Not just for yourself, but for them. For the ones who came before you, and for the ones who will come after you. For every person who has felt the same weight, the same darkness, the same pain. You are not alone in your struggle, and you are not alone in your strength. When you feel like giving up, when the weight feels too heavy, remember this. You are connected to a lineage of survivors. You are part of a web of resilience that stretches across time and space. Their strength is in you. Their fire burns within you. Their story is your story. So rise. Not because it's easy, not because the pain will disappear overnight, but because you owe it to yourself and to the countless others who have walked this path before you, to keep going, to keep fighting, to keep rising, no matter how many times you fall. You are not alone. You never have been. And the weight you carry is not yours to bear forever. It's part of a shared human experience, yes, but it's also something you have the power to transform, to heal, to break. This is your time, your moment, your chance to take the weight that has crushed you and turn it into something that lifts you, into something that frees you, into something that inspires the next person who feels the same darkness, the same heaviness, the same pain. You are not alone. And because of that, you are not powerless. Remember that. And rise. Lesson 11. Breaking the silence. Confronting the shadows of truth. There's a silence in your family. A heavy, suffocating silence that lingers in the corners of conversations, in the pauses between words, in the glances that dart away when questions come too close. You've felt it, haven't you? That unspoken weight, pressing down on you, shaping your life in ways you can't even see. But here's the truth, that silence is not innocent. It's not peace. It's not protection. It's a prison, a tomb where secrets are buried, where the pain of generations festers, waiting for someone brave enough to unearth it. And make no mistake, those secrets, those untold stories, are not dead. They are alive, whispering in the shadows, manifesting in the patterns you can't seem to break, in the fears you can't explain, in the wounds you can't heal. You are not free because your family is not free. The silence you've inherited is the chain that binds you, the blindfold that keeps you from seeing the truth of who you are and where you came from. And until you break that silence, until you bring those hidden truths into the light, you will remain a prisoner of the past. Breaking the silence is not an act of rebellion. It's an act of courage. It's the moment you stop running from the shadows and turn to face them. It's the moment you ask the questions no one wants to answer. The moment you demand the truth, no matter how painful, no matter how ugly, no matter how deeply it cuts. But don't be fooled. This is no easy path. Families keep secrets for a reason. They are born of shame, of fear, of wounds so deep they've been buried to survive. And when you begin to dig, you will find resistance. People will tell you to let it go, to stop asking, to leave the past in the past. But that's the lie that has kept the cycle alive. That's the poison disguised as peace. Ask yourself, how long will you live under the weight of silence? How long will you carry the burden of secrets that aren't even yours? How long will you let the unspoken truths of your family dictate your life? Because the silence doesn't just keep the pain hidden, it keeps it alive. It feeds on secrecy, on denial, on the refusal to confront what must be faced. Breaking the silence is not about destroying your family, it's about saving them. It's about unearthing the truth so the healing can begin. Because you cannot heal what you refuse to acknowledge. You cannot break the cycle if you don't know where it began. And you cannot move forward while dragging the weight of secrets behind you. This will hurt. Let's not pretend otherwise. The truth is rarely kind, and the stories you uncover may shake you to your core. You will find betrayal where you hoped for love, weakness where you expected strength, pain where you longed for peace. But this pain is not your enemy. It's your liberation. Every truth you uncover is a chain broken, a shadow dispelled, a step closer to freedom. But breaking the silence is not just about the past. It's about the future. Every secret you expose, every story you bring into the light, is one less burden for the generations to come. You are not just healing yourself. You are rewriting the legacy of your family. You are giving your children, and their children, a gift your ancestors never had. The gift of truth, of understanding, of freedom. So ask yourself, will you be the one who breaks the cycle? Will you be the one who brings the truth to light? Will you be the one who faces the silence and transforms it into strength? The time for denial is over. The time for secrecy has passed. The silence has served its purpose, but now it must end. Not because it's easy, not because it's comfortable, but because it's necessary. Because the truth is your only path to freedom. Because healing cannot begin until the shadows are brought into the light. This is your battle, your responsibility, your chance to change everything. Will you rise to it? Will you face the silence, the secrets, the pain? Will you break the chains that have bound your family for generations? The silence is waiting. The truth is waiting. Your freedom is waiting. But they won't wait forever. The question is not whether you can break the silence. It's whether you will. So rise, speak, ask the questions, demand the answers, face the pain, and watch as the silence shatters. As the shadows dissolve, as the truth sets you free. The time is now. The choice is yours. You've just taken the first step into the fire. The truths we shared today weren't meant to comfort you. They were meant to challenge you, to wake something within you that's been buried under generations of silence, pain, and fear. Healing isn't for the faint of heart. It's for the warriors, the ones ready to rewrite their story, to rise above the weight of the past, and to claim the life they were meant to live. To our returning viewers, you are the heart of this movement. Your resilience, your hunger for growth, and your refusal to settle are what make GrimFace what it is. Thank you for being part of this family of black sheep, misfits, and relentless fighters. To the new faces, if this message stirred something in you, if you're ready to take control of your life, join us. Hit that subscribe button and become part of the GrimFace movement, a movement built on breaking limits, defying the odds, and leveling up in every way possible. And don't forget to subscribe to our new partner channel, GrimFace Financial. It's time to master not just your mindset, but your money. Financial discipline is the key to freedom, and we're giving you the tools to break free from the system and build the life you deserve. The link is waiting for you in the description. Don't miss it. The journey doesn't end here. This is just the beginning. The darkness you face is not your enemy. It's your proving ground. So take what you've heard today and act. Face the shadows. Break the silence. Heal the wounds. And watch as the life you've always wanted begins to take shape.